Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of you. Your resident Ned's Photos coming at you, ready to give you some more insight and commentary into the Aspergian mind. Welcome to the Ned's Photos Channel 0. This is the second video I'm going to upload to this channel since a lot of my other videos in the channel that I had Ned's Photos is bugged. I'm out for a late night power walk, so if I sound a little winded while I'm doing this, excuse that. What I want to talk about tonight, I want to talk about something that started to worry for a bit, but then I realized it wasn't something I really needed to worry about too much, because of the things that I do know, and actually using the method that I did was better and more secure than the other method. Well, I had a concern. I have the invention website that I've talked about, Quirky, and I'll put a link here so you guys can check it out if you haven't already. Well, I have a community now, and in order to do that, I had to fill out a couple forms, and for tax purposes and all that stuff. And I was a little bit concerned because they didn't give a really good way to fill out the form online, unfortunately. I had to go through, they set it up through it was supposed to be like a PDF file, I thought, and using Adobe Reader and what have you, and I'd be able to fill that out. Well, couldn't get that to work. So I had to do the old-fashioned way. I printed it out, filled it out with a pen, made a few scans, and I attached them to the email they provided. The only other ways was to email or fax. I don't have a fax machine. And, well, this had some vital information on it, okay, which is, has to be. Now, I thought about it. They did, and I'm sure I could have probably mailed it, but it didn't give that information right offhand. But I got to thinking, does this worry me when I was setting the information there into cyberspace, and I was thinking, like, oh no, what if my information, blah blah blah. If I were to mail it, there's always that chance that some sap, if it got lost or if it got dropped or something like that, any old sap could pick it up, open it up, and get my information, okay? Now, I thought to myself, actually, just putting the picture files and sending them off is more secure than actually mailing it. The reason that I mentioned that any old sap could, and then, I don't know how people get away with it, or, I watched a special about how the credit agency can get people's names and things mixed up, and then it's ridiculous how much they have to go through to fix it. When the agencies that can deal with it, if it's that difficult to do that in and of itself, just from their mistake, nobody's identity was stolen or anything in that news. It was an error from that agency. I thought to myself, well, the people who are tech savvy enough, who are hackers, who are programmers, that are smart enough to do cybercrime are probably not going to worry about me as an individual. If they're tech savvy enough, they're trying to do things that are much bigger, much more, and something that they probably could get away with. Enough, and the criminals doing stuff like that know that they have to keep the lowest profile that they can. They're not gonna piddle around with something that could draw attention to them. I mean, there's a reason why the mafia couldn't kill the entire police force. They would draw attention to them. You have to pick your battles wisely, otherwise they would get caught. I mean, and crime, as years go by, is getting much more difficult to get away with because of technology and stuff like that. So, the successful criminals are not going to waste their time with stuff like that. However, the idiot, I shouldn't call him a sap because they would, sap, but they're not the victim. The person who's getting their identity stolen would be the sap, I guess. But the idiot, identity theft, when it's done on like a one-person scale, usually is the person who's stealing the identity is usually some idiot, some lowlife who probably works, in some kind of filing system, or maybe they pay somebody off, or somebody pays them off to get somebody's information, on the lowdown. Those people who are stealing individual identities for just to open a credit card or what have you, they're not very sophisticated. So, therefore, by not mailing it, I keep my information out of those people's hands. So I was able to send that off with confidence, I don't know, to the extent of which stuff is encrypted, via the internet and stuff like that, as far as like sending emails and things. But I do have the LifeLock service. It only costs me $10 a month. Because there's always that possibility. Your information is out there, is held by other people, held by companies. Just a couple of years ago, actually it was on a few different occasions, I had learned that I think my bank, another company they deal with that compiles their information, had a bunch of their, millions and millions and millions of documents that were stolen or, used. And from what they determined, it was not so much to gather like credit card information like that, or bank accounts, but it was more for use of for advertisement, if stuff like that. And then I also learned that the PlayStation Network was hacked, a couple years ago too. I think about that same time, actually, even. And and my with I get regular reports from LifeLock, and my identity profile and what have you, they all remain unchanged. So was able to send that off with confidence, no problem whatsoever. But yeah, so I thought I would share this with you. Just kind of something on my mind, and if something that has bothered you in this regard, you can be rest assured that the internet is actually, for individuals, actually more secure than your one-on-one transactions with credit cards, the store even. Because, like I say, individual idiots in that arena are the ones who are who have ease to your information are the ones stealing people's identities, more so for use of opening a credit card in your name or something. And it all just kind of works itself out for the most part. And I'm not to say that, it's not impossible that something like that could happen. That where a person who has enough program savvy to do big criminal operations on the internet, it's not impossible, but it is improbable that they would go that route. But life is to live life is a bunch of risks, and many of us are still here. Things aren't always out to get us all the time. Sometimes they are, but we just keep on keeping on, I suppose. But anyway, that's my 2 cents for the evening. If any of you have any insight into what I was talking about, I'd love to hear from you. Video responses and always appreciate. Like and subscribe to this channel, and still make sure to subscribe to Expodos as well, just in case my bugs on my channel ever get fixed. But still of videos that I have on there for you to view, so I might feature a few from time to time, so it will show up in feed. And I will talk to you later.